Wall chicken? A lot of people have never played Castlevania Chronicles, which is a real shame because it is awesome. It's such a good game, you guys. So, Castlevania Chronicles on the PlayStation is a remake of the 1993 Japan exclusive Akumajo Durakura for the Sharp X68000, a popular Pasokan. You've heard me use that word before. Pasokan is the Japanese word for personal computer. The X68000 was a personal computer in Japan that was geared toward gamers. Since the PlayStation 1 Remake was released in 2001, pretty close to the end of the PlayStation's life, it flew under the radar for a lot of us. I'm a huge Castlevania fan, so I did buy the game, really hoping for a follow-up to Symphony of the Night, which is my favorite game of all time, and I remember playing it and just not really being that impressed. But now, revisiting it, I realize I was really wrong about it. It's a fantastic game. It's probably one of the top ranking games in the Castlevania series. Just like Super Castlevania 4, Akumajo X68k is a remake of the original Castlevania, just as it appears on the NES. The first stage is a screen-for-screen remake with the exception of a few curiosities added like the flea men inside this breakable wall. While later levels take parts of the original game, no other level seems to be an exact remake. There is a really nice throwback in the outer wall stage where you run a gauntlet of traps very similar to the same stage in the first game, but the difficulty gets really ramped up once you climb the stairs. Some assets look to be borrowed from Castlevania 4, like the swinging pendulums in the clock tower and the winged skeletons. The first feature that really struck me when I started playing Castlevania on the X68k is the save feature. This is particularly nice in a game like this because you can pick up where you left off when you play again, instead of having to start over like the cartridge-based Castlevania games. This is particularly useful because of the unique gameplay loop that this game has. Each time you complete the game, you start again from the beginning, but the challenge is increased. You can complete the game up to 6 times, with the game becoming progressively harder each time. This probably explains why I found the game so easy on the first go-around. I got all the way to Dracula's castle without losing a single life, something that is unheard of in Castlevania games. Even the bosses were easy to beat quickly, and without having to know any particular tricks or strategies. Some stages have hidden areas, and even alternate paths. The level design is really great all around, but it gets really cool in the later game. I was particularly impressed with this giant statue that cries blood, and each bloody teardrop turns into a blood skeleton. If you just stand there and wait for a little while, the screen will absolutely fill up with blood skeletons. I don't know if there's a limit to how many can actually be on screen at once. The doll room is also really impressive, as is the Hall of Mirrors, where these mirrors are constantly falling off the walls and breaking on poor Simon. Probably the coolest part is the painting room. As Simon walks across an outdoor landscape, you expect to be entering the keep. The background falls to pieces and reveals that it was nothing more than a painting the whole time and you've actually been inside the castle. This is incredible design, and I believe it is the best that the Castlevania series has to offer in terms of level design. The platforming is designed at a very high level here too. Many jumping puzzles await you. The clock tower in particular fulfills its role as a clinic in platforming. Unironically, the timer is your worst enemy here, as many of the obstacles will drop you back down to an earlier point in the level. Simon can whip downward straight or at an angle while in the air, but he cannot whip upwards at all. It's a strange choice, but I guess a necessary one given the control limitations of the X68k. I think I can easily say, with confidence, that this is the best looking 16-bit Castlevania game, and it even gives Symphony of the Night a run for its money in the visuals department. The sprites are large, colorful, and detailed. The color palette is huge with lots of vibrant greens, reds, and blues. The characters and environments have an unprecedented feeling of depth, and this is mostly due to the X68k being much more powerful than the Super Nintendo, and having some very preliminary 3D capabilities. There are also some really nice graphical touches, like the lightning that strikes a tree in the first level, causing it to catch fire. The bat boss explodes into a collection of smaller bats, and the stained glass in the chapel comes to life in vibrant color using 3D polygons. There's also a really nice opening cinematic with fully animated and drawn 2D characters. It's a very effective way to set the mood for this particular game. A similar tactic was used to much greater effect a few months later when Rondo of Blood was released for the PC Engine CD. There's also some excellent zooming, as demonstrated very well by these gargoyles that fly around in the background and then reappear in the foreground, ready to fight Simon. Fans of the series expect excellence from the sound and music of Castlevania, and they won't be disappointed here. Castlevania's greatest hits are in full effect, and the sound is crystal clear on the X68k's audio driver. You even have the option of choosing FM synthesis or MIDI. The MIDI sounds truly amazing, bordering on CD quality. Sound effects will also sound familiar, but they have a little bit more impact and depth here. Go ahead and take a listen. The PS1 Remake is very faithful to the source, but it offers two different game modes. Original, which is an almost direct port of the original game, and Arrange mode, which makes some changes and updates to the original game. It has an all-new cinematic intro that does not include the blood and gore of the original, but that intro is still in the game if you choose the original mode. One big change is that every stage after the ice level is way harder. I was losing 4 bars of health every time I got hit. This is equivalent to loop 4 or 5 of the original game. While original mode still loops, only the first half of the game becomes more difficult. This might be a bug, I'm really not sure. I was also really surprised when the vampire bat spat fireballs at me and continued to take damage after splitting apart. Neither of those features were present in the original game. Some enemy placement and movement seems to have been slightly altered, but it's very, very subtle. The audio gets a really nice upgrade though. The music is about equivalent to the original, but the sound effects they sound a lot sharper and much crisper on the PlayStation. The Arrange mode is a little bit strange, but it's no less worth talking about. I'm not really a fan of it for a few reasons. First, the Simon sprite is replaced by this kabuki warrior looking sprite with long pink hair. It's a bizarre design choice, but I guess it's very aughts, it's a very alt looking kind of a character. Definitely not the Simon that I'm used to. Further, all the music is remixed, and while it does sound cool, the pumping bass and high adrenaline guitar solos, they just really don't fit within the Castlevania aesthetic. There are options that can be adjusted here, including difficulty, number of lives, and the option to turn the timer on or off. That can really help in the clock tower later in the game. There seem to be some minor graphical enhancements like these halos of light around the candles and a cool 3D map image during the between stage segments. Apart from these, the game feels largely unchanged from the original mode. I really couldn't detect any other changes. I was expecting different enemy placement, maybe some changes to the platforming or some different maps, but I really just saw nothing different. When I revisited Castlevania Chronicles, I was really surprised by just how much I enjoyed this game. I think I like it even better than Super Castlevania 4. I might even like it as much as Rondo of Blood. Maybe, like it's close. Still, it's a fantastic game. Is it the best of the 16-bit era? I don't think so. I really think Rondo of Blood narrowly snatches that title just because of the size and depth of that game. But I still strongly urge you to check this one out. It's really fantastic. I had a lot of fun playing. I really enjoyed it. There's so many great features that the game has, so many cool stages and environments. The design's great, the platforming's great. Absolutely a big fan. I thank you once again for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment to help Risky Bitness grow. If you leave a comment, that's the best way to help me. Liking the video, a huge help. Subscribing, a massive help. And sharing with your friends, a huge, massive, gigantic help. I have a huge goal. I really want to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And if you guys can help me do that, grow this channel to 1,000 subscribers, that's going to open the doors for me to make a lot better content. You might have noticed in this video I did dial back on the comedy a bit. The last few videos I tried a little bit of humor, and I kind of got hit and miss responses with it. So let me know in the comments, do you think I should add a little bit more comedy into these videos and try some sketches again? Or do you think the comedy didn't really do it for you and you'd rather me just shoot straight and talk about video games? There was no Bitkeeper sketch either in this particular episode, but I'll bring him back next month if people want him. That's really all there is to it. Thank you so much for watching. Please help me grow. And until next time, game over. This chicken though, it's not from a wall. I brined this for 7 hours today. It's so good. If you've never brined a chicken, brine a chicken.